They were 8-7 the loss to Virtus Pro, 7-5 the loss to Wolves. So they've either gone in their losses, the two games they've lost, to the very last round or to overtime. So they've been very close to getting it done. And it's like I said in week one, they're kind of that team that, you know, if they can string a couple of wins together, I'll start backing them, because I think there's a lot of talent in the team. You know, the staff as well, I think it's all spot on. It's all poised for some really good results. It's just consistency at the minute and getting it done, actually delivering those results. But we'll see if they can do it against today. It's not going to be easy against Team Secret, who are going well so far in stage one. But on bank, you know, who knows what might happen. There's plenty of space, put it that way.
Well, we can talk about these bans, of course, going into a tech pause straight after, but at least looking at those bans there, you see in the classic, a banner ace double ban. Just means that you can keep that elevated double wall reinforced off. There's no way you can open it up. It makes life very, very difficult for the attackers. Makes life a little bit easier on that top floor for the defenders, which I think we're quite blessed by. It's kind of come along at the same time where, of course, we've had the changes where it's now impossible to shoot after you've vaulted out of a window. So that top floor is suddenly much more attacker-sided. The bans have somewhat equalized that out, which is always good to see. But one stat I really wanted to pull out was actually one of Fnatic's top players at the minute, Wizard. 6-0 on entry after these few games they've had so far. What I love about that is, like, he hasn't lost an entry battle at all. Currently set highest DPS of the team as well. He was this rookie coming in that many were like, okay, yeah, I've heard his name, of course, seen through CL a little bit. Is he really that he's all cracked up to be? But you look at players like Krex, you know, of course I'll say it, I'm sure all of you in chat are dying to hear his name tonight. Stomping as well. We've seen these new rookies come in, and although admittedly their first games for most of them were a little bit shaky, you're really starting to see them bed in now and starting to put up some solid numbers for their teams.
We're going to be getting into this one just as soon as we can do. I think it's just a case of getting everybody back in and we will be underway. But yeah, Secret, as you say, going to be looking to continue. I'm just looking at how the league stands at the minute and what it would mean. So currently they tied up with Matchcore, 4th and 5th. Secret still slightly ahead in those tiebreakers on 7 points, so they're still sitting 4th place. But with VP dropping points tonight, that leaves VP on 8, G2 on 8 and yet to play, Falcons on 9 having played. So Secret have a real opportunity here, depending on results that happen later on in that G2 game. If Secret can take a full 3 here against Fnatic, they could finish the end of the night in the top spot, and that's big.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. This is real scrap at the top of the table right now that's going to make things very interesting. G2, do I expect them to come away with a win in their game and take top of the table against BDS? Yeah, I probably do. It feels like a weird time to say like that. G2 are now that team that are on top, right? I regarded it in the last remarks on it, sorry, in a previous broadcast. 2023 was the year of VP. They won both stages. Last year, it was the year of BDS, now known as Falcons. Do we dare to suggest already, Tim, that this could be the year of G2?
I don't think we ever dare to suggest that, Des.
Might have pushed it a little bit far there. We'll see.
In all honesty.
It's the year of stomping, that's why.
Look, we love to see G2 do well. We love to see any of these teams do well. But, you know, G2 have just... They've shown a lack of reliability when it comes to backing them over the last 12 months. I think it's fair to say. But as much as anybody else in Europe, I think we'd love to see G2 have a good year. And so far, so good. Like you say, Stomping's settled in great, and, you know, maybe that'll continue. So it won't matter what Secret here do, and G2 will have the opportunity to go top. But Secret, they can only play their game, and that's get a full 3 off Fnatic and put G2 under pressure.
Definitely. I think they've got to get a win here. I was going to say Sarks need to drop a couple of seconds sooner here. As soon as that drone is starting to sniff around, it's probably time to back away. And of course, who else to get the entry? The Mowgli team. A player that I said back on Playday 1, if Secret can harness this raw potential that he's got as a player, he will be lights out, probably the best player in the region. And I think so far you're seeing that start to cook. He's not quite top of EPS across the whole region, but he's in our top 10. And you're seeing a much more composed Mowgli here, who isn't charging ahead of his team and trading all the time or trying to go off by himself and make a hero play happen. He can still make those plays, but it's with the full support of his team, as you saw there, playing in off the back of a drone.
Yeah, that's it. I think, like you say, once he beds in, once they've got that routine down to a fine art, then yeah, absolutely devastated. I mean, he already can be devastated, but it'll just, what you'll see is that happen more and more and more frequently. And Mowgli's is a development arc, I would call it, that is certainly one to watch over the next couple of months, particularly. Fnatic are going to be using that to Barrow for the time being, just to try and keep the hatches closed. They are going to see server hatch open, which forces Deepak back.
I'm a little worried. We've still got glow canisters up. We've still got 3 smokes in back pocket. We've still got a C4. Yet we're down to the last 45 seconds or so, fast approaching on here. Good work here being shown by Adrian to clear out a bit of utility, but I'm a little bit alarmed that Secret may have left us a bit too late. They can try and hit the back of sites here and not play through security and through server. That looks to be the play, but there's still impediments being shown up here as well. Doom steps in, finds one for himself. Now going to round himself in towards gold bars. I tell you what, Tim, it doesn't matter about the utility because Secret are cooking him alive. 3 kills, make it 4. Jeg's the last one left alive. And I don't think there's much he can do here to stop this plant going down. Savage starting to stick it inside of the other site. And sure enough, Secret just hit the backside there and ignore all that utility that could have possibly impeded them, the smoke included.
Yeah, I think the utility is a defining factor, is a deciding element if Fnatic can get those couple of kills. But when Doom walks in and gets that first one and it's 5 versus 3, Fnatic have to start taking risks. They have to start relocating and filling space that's been created by that death. And when that happens, Secret are there and waiting, and they pick up another and another and another, and it's round over before you know it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's certainly something I think for Secret to pay attention to going forward, that whilst it's worked that time, brilliant, not a problem, they've got the job done, it is something they need to be cautious of. If you've got those Goyo canisters, in this case you've got FNATs, you've got smoke canisters, you've got vault cameras, you need to be dealing with them early in the round, as early as possible, so that you're not leaving yourself with that last 30-second rush.
Ooh, all right. That's the table stakes have now been put forward by Secret as we get called for a rehost. We'll go into that in just a second, I'm sure. For Fnatic, yes, they've been bowled over in that first round. They've been out-game planned almost by Secret to kick things off. I'm curious if they can build into it. Because one thing I'll remark on Fnatic is it's almost sad to say, but ever since they moved over to Europe, they've kind of been seen as that jokey team that languishes down towards the bottom of the table. They don't really manage to find themselves finding a roster that was clicking, that they were seeing themselves putting up good numbers and starting to really compete. They've had some great games along the way, it's worth stressing. I want to say that back at Reload, there was a game where they almost beat FaZe, and of course the history will never remember that fact. They'll always look at, oh, well, they lost to them, it's whatever. They were nail-bitingly close and were by far and away the better team on the day. You just come up against the top team sometimes and they're going to blow you away. It's going to happen. But I'm enjoying seeing this team start to take a little bit more shape now. You've heard the guys in the desk talk about Groovy here. Wizard as a remarks have played well. Yep, thanks very much, Mowgli. I don't read that much French, I'm afraid, so I can't tell you entirely what it says. Jegs is playing well. Sark's has been playing well. Deepak, of course, is more supportive player in the back line as well. Ruby's been largely stuck on shield duty, so don't expect to see him flying up the rankings at the moment, to be fair. But I like the shape of this Fnatic team. There may yet be 1 or 2 changes they want to make again in future, but it looks good. I think it just needs a little bit of time to marinate. The sad thing is that in stages like this, when you've only got 2 stages a year, 9 best of ones in each to show what you can do, you can't afford to marinate, Tim. You've got to be on from day one.
Yeah, it's tough. We've seen it before. We'll see it again. I think it's definitely a real factor of this stage. You know, if we look at teams that have had a consistent roster to teams that have had, you know, considerable changes and are needing to have that little bit of time. You know, you look across, you can count Matchcore, Wild and Gen G all in that bracket, having come into Tier 1. Effectively with Gen G, they were half there, but they've had 2 changes. You've then got Wolves that have had big changes, Fnatic, BDS, all with big changes, Team Secret, which are, you know, you're looking at basically Falcon, G2 and Virtus Pro. I know G2 have had Stomping come in, but with just 1 change, you're looking at those 3 teams that are really the only ones that maybe aren't in that situation of needing that time to develop as a team and to bed in.
That's it. Well, this tech port should be resolved in just a moment. Just had 1 player crash out against. They'll load back in. We'll get the lobby re-established. We'll set up the operator bands. We'll set the score as being 1-0 and load back in. And that's like, what's he called? Portrait with his camera there. He's like blocked off everything else. Everyone else got this lovely wide shot of their entire room. Okay, never mind. Savage is out of here. I think he needs a toilet break, Tim. I haven't been told that. I'm just guessing.
I think it'd be a reasonable estimation at this point, but as you say, I think he probably also knows that we're going to be a minute or 2. It won't be extending the tech break. It will just be knowing that it's going to take a couple of minutes.
Remind me, by the way, It was Falcons back at Reload who needed a toilet break, right? And the three of them disappeared like mid-game.
Yeah.
Am I wrong in saying that? It was Falcons, right?
It was Falcons. It wasn't mid-game. It was just before the game started. Yeah,
oh, because we've been sat through a tech pause, hadn't we?
Yeah.
And then they were like, I really need the toilet. And it's like, okay, well, okay, like, no, but and then they're like, I've got to go. So off they went. And then three of them all went. I was just like, wow.
Ran across the arena floor, yeah.
You say ran. I say Leakyfact waddled across there. I think his bladder was fit to burst.
I'm not going to make any assumptions, but yes, I do recall that.
He looked in some discomfort.
And then we had, of course, who was it on the side of Cyclops that forgot their glasses?
Oh, our Cully.
Our Cully forgot his glasses.
And then the next day he remembers his glasses.
Absolutely locked in.
Oh, no, it's game 2 where he got his glasses right, yeah. And it was like, oh my God, you can tell it's a glasses buff there. And I remember saying to him afterwards, I was like, you ain't forgetting the glasses anytime soon again, are you? He was like, nope. I love that, to be fair. It was super cool because obviously when we were there, the outcome was almost inevitable that we would see a Brazilian team winning at Reload, lifting that shield. Of course, it's not Hammer, it was a shield back at Reload. And against Cyclops, it was really exciting to see them make it that deeper into the tournament. And what I loved afterwards is all the fans in the room were like their biggest fans. They were cheering them over. They wanted to come over, like take their shirts off and get pictures with them, you name it. They were super, super supportive of it. And it was just great to see the players being so engaged with the fan base as well. I absolutely adored what we saw there. And I hope we get to see more deep runs from teams like Cyclops at events because it means so much to them when it's their first time making it to a grand final, let alone making it to a stage.
Yeah, it was great, as you say, you know, great to witness so many of the neutral fans, if you will, got behind them. I know, you know, we often, I think, assume that the Brazilian fans of maybe Furia would just back WC, you know, they'll always back the Brazilian team, but it really wasn't the case. Like you say, you know, there were so many Brazilians on site who were just absolutely, you know, screaming their lungs out for Cyclops and really getting behind them. So yeah, it was phenomenal to see, like you say, especially not just for their own first grand final, but for the first grand final for a team from their region as well, really kind of holding the torch and leading the way for not just Japan, but you know, Korea and all of the APAC region as well. So yeah, it was a great event, and it was wonderful to see.
And of course, Tim, not to forget about it, you've heard about it quite a lot over the last few weeks. Munich in November.
Tickets
That's a really exciting one because you and I think especially have quite a lot of affinity with Germany because we cast the final of the Berlin Major, longest final series we've ever had. It was an unbelievable series as well. Rogue, of course, lifting that hammer on European soil. It was a dream, is the only way I can really describe it. And I really hope we get some more excellent games in Munich.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've got the pedigree there now, haven't we? You know, it was a brilliant tournament, was Berlin. Obviously, you know, it's easy to be biased towards it given the final that we were, you know, so fortunate to cover. But the whole tournament was great. The venue was really nice, and the location we were in was like dead center in the city of Berlin. And it was just I just have a lot of fond memories of that event. It was really, really good. So yeah, seeing another one, you know, with an opportunity. If we're there to get back to Munich would be fantastic.
And then SI Paris to follow afterwards, but we'll talk more about that another time. As you can see, the game is back underway. Cheers for sticking with our yapping, our reminiscing, everything else that you might want to describe that 5 minutes or so of downtime. We're back into things with Fnatic, of course, in the defense here on Bank. Secret won the first round in very, very dominant fashion. Less said about that one, the better if you are a Fnatic fan. But we'll see if after that pause they can recollect themselves here and get themselves back into the game and being competitive.
I think around sooner rather than later for Fnatic. It's easy. It's one of those kind of, it feels like an easy thing to say because obviously always around, you know, 7 rounds sooner rather than later would be better for every team. But I think when you know, we often, the reason that I say it like that is we often look at, you know, the half that you're on. If you're on the defensive half, you're on the attack, you know, we're looking at scores that maybe we don't always expect you to kind of win the half, and coming away with a 2-4 or a 3-3 is absolutely fine. I think Fnatic need to be winning this defensive half, and that's why I say a round sooner rather than later, because if Secret get this one, they've kind of already done as much as they need to, in a way, for me, getting those 2 rounds. So everything thereafter is a bonus, and the pressure starts to mount up on Fnatic. So for me, get yourself 2 or 3 now, get yourself in the lead, keep Secret on that 1 round, keep them chasing something rather than looking for a bonus.
That's it. Well, for now, it's about wasting time up on this top floor. Unsurprisingly, as we mentioned with the bans being the Hibana and the Ace, it is impossible to get that double wall opened up outside of elevators and then be able to challenge down it and force back the defenders that are up here. So it's a very, very good location, a good front line almost for the defenders to establish and keep the attackers at bay, at least for a little bit. Sure enough, now there's a ping coming in, and Sarks is going to have to back himself away as that Monty of Savage has started his march on forward. Wizard continues that flawless entry record, Tim, 7-0. He now stands on entry across the league.
Jex manages to pick up Noah in a late trade there, 4 versus 3, and Fnatic doing well here to break down this secret attack. I always look at a Monty, and I feel like as the kills come in around him, Monty gets less and less powerful. Monty thrives when he's got somebody there to support him, when he's got a gun behind him, and he can feed that bit of intel and give them those opportunities to cut down the players in front of him. So each time you lose a gun and you've got Savage in behind that shield, needing to risk dropping it to get his pistol out, doesn't have quite the same power in the engagement. It takes away some of his potency. So great stuff from Fnatic so far, and the ram has been taken away.
Yeah, they saw the foot there of Sarks. They know that it's inside of elevator. And right idea, he's missing his own feet back on the other side. Adrian taking a little tickle there, losing a couple of toes in the process. Problem is, Timmy's going to get pushed out here and forced to drop backwards. C4 up over the top, trying to get rid of Savage, who's dropped not even really low. And yet again, Mowgli has been the hunter into elevators here and punished Sarks a second time. That's, again, another situation where he hasn't quite dropped away quickly enough. Here comes Groovy, though. 2 kills for himself. Adrian with it all to do. This one will be a quick closeout, and Jex finds himself another. Fnatic looking much better in that round. It felt like Secret were boxing with shadows for most of it, Tim.
Yep, Jex just making sure of it there. A couple of extras going in just to ensure that the job is done, and that's going to be Fnatic, as I said they would want to, get in that round locked down nice and early, get themselves back into it. It's 1-1. Looking at the defensive win rate over the recent past for Bank, worldwide we're talking 54% or nearly 55%, just short. So, and that's over 518 rounds. So that's over a huge sample size of, you know, all different variety of competition. So Bank definitely playing out with an advantage for the defenders. So Fnatic have to be coming away with a 4-2 here if they want any hope of taking points off Secret.
All right, well, I like what I've seen so far. I was worried that when we had Savage starting to square up on the Monty that we'd just see them get bullied out, because it's often not kind of carried out in a conversation about the best shield players around the world, but I'd definitely put Savage up there. Like, time and time again, we've seen him play. It doesn't really matter what shield you give to him, he can play it. And he has that healthy balance that I think at least old school a lot of Monty players would miss on, is the ability to be aggressive and to force position. Certainly enable when you're playing things like the Blitz. We can't ignore, of course, the aggressive potential of that operator. But I do like seeing him on shields. I think he brings a lot of presence to the front line when he's rolling around on those, and the rest of his team can capitalize on the chaos. Of course, they've got more tricks up the sleeve than just that, but I'd definitely put him in conversation for one of the better shield players around the world.
Absolutely.
Dog. What's the dog, Sarks? I don't know what dog he's got, but now I need to find out.
I think it's just run off.
Right, I'm on his Twitter. I'm going to go and find out what dog he's got.
I don't think we're going to get another look. You will have to find it elsewhere. We'll bring you all the information. You know, we're bringing you the big facts here. We're
Right, what dog he's got.
Bring you the information that everybody wants to know, does.
So I was going to ask their coach. I know it's a really important moment for them and they're in a game, but I'm going to ask him.
I'm not sure you'll get an answer, Des.
I don't know. I messaged him earlier on, I think during the tech pause, and said, oh, well, you weren't kidding about Wizard, hey? He's doing damn well, because, again, he was 6-2 on entry, he's top rated for the team, and he was like, yeah, great player. And I was like, yeah, good, I agree with you. We'll see if you can give me a one-word response on what the dog is. I'm really curious to know.
I think we're looking like we're getting back in there. I'm going off the player first, as it looks like everybody's pretty locked in and focused. In fact, from Deepek's screen, I can see that that is the case. There we go. Setup was happening. So 1-1, we move into round 3. Down to the basement we go. And let's see if Fnatic can get it done this time around. Maybe get themselves a little lead. That's what they're going to be wanting. Inside the first 3, if they can go 2-1, you're looking at these like mini sections of the game. If you can win each 3 rounds, you'll end up winning. Top and bottom of it. So that's what they want to be doing. Focus on getting this done. They went there in round 1. Secret were able to win. It wasn't even really kind of close. Fnatic struggled to keep them out. They had a lot of utility left available to them. This is really directly where I'm saying Secret need to make sure that they are switched onto it this time. Last time around, a lot of Goyo canisters left, a lot of utility left to stack up against them, and they were rushing in looking for kills. It went well, it worked, but I'd like to see them adapt and make sure that that's not the case again.
For sure. And not forgetting, of course, after this round, we get another operator ban coming out. I wouldn't really see value in banning away a shield if you're on the Fnatic side here, because you just know full well the shield ready to roll out in any case. And Groovy's got a freebie there. Noah's been so focused elsewhere and without really respecting the Cuppy Swarm on that top floor. Bit of a misthrown coming out from Secret there and costing them the entry.
And that's really big. That's the Mav taken away, who obviously would have been able to deal with any of those hatchets. There is still 4 soft breach charges, which you can use, so it's not the end of the world, but it does put more pressure onto these players to make sure that they are right place, right time, and also that they don't lose their lives before they've got all those hatches cleared out. It looks like they should be fine with it, but it's just something to watch. Lose a drone there to the nade as well, not ideal.
No. It's more about the time that I start to watch. I know we've still got lots of it to play here, but I'm again looking at the amount of stall available really to Fnatic. A couple of C4s to play behind. You've got the tuber around side. You've got, of course, electrification to chew your way through. Goyo canisters. That is a shot and a half. Wow. Savage dropping the shield down and getting his head taken clean off. Big ET stepping up big. We're going to pay the price at least on the return back to site. Sarch yet again caught out of position now across all 3 rounds. Tim, we have seen this. Either he overstays, I mean, in all of them, the reason he's been punished is he's overstayed, but has paid the price across all 3. Mowgli down his backside here. Only 2 currently standing for Secret.
Yeah, it's looking good for Fnatic. Deepak did take the pre-rip on the Nitro, but it's going to put it in his pocket and get that shotgun back out, ready to aggress, ready to attack. They are now aware of his position, not taking the opportunity with the Twitch drone to try and remove utility, really, because they know that bulletproof camera is going to be super tricky to do that with. Fnatic just need to play this patiently, to be honest. 4 versus 3, 50 seconds left to go, utility to play behind. They managed to pick up Doom. The round is largely theirs, so long as they don't do anything silly.
It should be. However, Tim, we've seen plenty of 2-man advantage rounds given away tonight.
They've got 2 nitros left here. Shouldn't be.
We've got 2 smokes. We've got all these light screens, loads to play with. They're trying to bait out the C4s, but Deepak is a bit too wise to this one. Out it comes. There we go. This time around it's going to go 4, but it ain't deep enough, Tim. That's 1 loss. 20 seconds still to play. Being so patient here, Deepak. We have to bite someone's hand off, giving him the opportunity. And now they're trying to make the plan happen. But there we go. Groovy steps round, finds himself another. Jegs at long range. Fnatic looking much more composed. Tim, that first round, they've forgotten all about it. The last 2 have looked great.
Yeah, well managed there from Fnatic. A little bit wobbly on the nitro throw. It was a little bit short, landed on the desk a bit more distance, and they might have got the round done even sooner. But yeah, Grube just picking his moment perfectly, takes that planter down and gives Fnatic the advantage that they needed. 2-1 on the scoreboard, and so far, to be honest, they look good for it. They've obviously come in here well prepared for what Secret were going to bring to the table. They've been set up, they've been getting those opening kills. Wizard and Grube in round 2 and 3 have put them on that best foot forward. They are going to take a shield out. They've got rid of the Monty. I think that just means, to be honest, we'll see Secret bring the Blackbeard or the Blitz.
This is that right now. I just want to remember you guys that this will get them out of the control of the game and force them to move towards our direction. You know, it feels that this is the only thing that we are lacking right now. And in any case, if you guys want something for later on, their intel game is being very poor. So you guys can even use the information when pre-placed dronings inside of the map to get that early picks in the open area. I think there's a gap, and onto archives as well. We can try do fast walk-ins later in other bomb sites. Okay, remember to breathe. It's about how it ends, not how it starts. Let's go.
Yep. Let's go.
Yep.
Let's get the shit.
Yeah, we just need to watch out for this small aggression.
Pretty. That's a really interesting. I've not heard a timeout like that yet so far, in the sense that he's touched on quite a few things. One, talking about the second half a little bit there, but also talking a little bit around how it's about watching this momentum, I think, to a degree. Like, it does feel a bit chaotic across those last couple of rounds. They have been battered out a bit, and maybe that moment of just breathing is the important part. And one thing I'll remark on is, of course, we've got this beautiful gift here of being able to listen to these tack timeouts. Sometimes you don't need to offer massive words of wisdom. It can just be when the comms are a little bit chaotic, or people are a little bit quiet, or something's just a little bit off. Just taking that extra 45 seconds or so to reset the team a little bit, to take them out of that headspace and remind them, hey, you guys have got this, it's okay, just calm down. That can be enough to get teams completely back on track sometimes.
Let's see how Secret respond to the break into Twister's words then. As we've said, the Monty has been taken away. We'll see again whether they then start bringing alternative shields. So far in this round, they haven't done. Instead, bringing, I'd say, a more aggressive lineup, really. You've got the Dokubi, you've got the Deimos, they're going to hunt down any roamers. They're going to make life a misery from underneath. Use that soft floor, really take advantage of it. You've got Savage on the glass. He can get aggressive there. He can use that smoke cover, get a line through sight, and again, make life really tough for these defenders. Mean that Fnatic can't move around too much.
Sure, well, let's see just how much moving they can do. We've got Deepek back on probably his signature operator here on the Echo. Let's see if brought along all that option, but I like it here paired up with the Valkyrie. And on the other side, Tim, let's not forget there's no IQ brought along. Instead, they're leaning in towards Adrian on the Dokkaebi. When that call is going off, you can't make use of those cameras. So it's a temporary blackout versus outright destroying the gadgets. But this is a lot of information that Fnatic are bringing along here. Is it going to be enough to stop a Glaz execute when Savage has now jumped over to that operator?
Yeah, I think, you know, that's something that people often overlook with Dokkaebi. I think, you know, if you're looking at things you can take away for your own games, in pro play we see it a lot, but I think in, you know, sort of ranked games, you probably look at it and you think, she's used to hunt the roamers. You know, if you're on the chase of somebody across the map, you bring in the call and it gives you a location. It can actually be used as a really vital part of executing onto a site. You put that call in, people have then got the choice of turning their phone off, so maybe you catch them without the gun in the hand, but also it clears everybody off the cameras, so they don't necessarily know you're coming in. You can tie it all in together, but look at this, tying everything in together. We've got smoke canisters coming out, we've got nades, we've got Wizard, however, with a Nitro taking down Noah. Savage is trying to get something going with that glass scope. They haven't dealt with Janitor. We speak about the importance of Janitor so often, and right now Fnatic are being able to use that area of the map brilliantly well. The Deimos track is out, nade comes up, but it's going to be ineffective. However, they are in, and Plant is going down. Can Fnatic do anything? I don't think they can.
They can't. No, Moby's going to finish it. Even with the Glaz not finding the kills in the window that they needed, it doesn't matter. That C4 is a bit late. Problem now, of course, Tim, is they've got this window control. I love that as well. Immediate drop away from Savage to not die out to ATMs here. He can come back up and challenge onto this at any time that he feels necessary. It's really smart play so far from Secret, and Fnatic, I think, are going to be really stuck to make this work.
Yep, just going to put those keeper barricades out, try and provide a little bit of cover there. It'll give them a good idea, but because it's the glass, it just means that they can be cleared oh so quickly. One after another. Secret, they take them down like dominoes and get themselves around 2-2.
I was really worried there for a second because Secret invested so much in the first execute. Yeah, we had 2 smokes going down. We had a Dokkaebi phone call coming out. We had all of the Grimbees being tossed in before Noah went in for the plant. And then they died to a C4 from Wizard. And I thought, no, they've used everything here to make this work. They've got nothing really left, like they had 1 smoke in back pocket. I thought they were surely cooked, but somehow managed to get in and get the plant down. Mowgli does this, is behind 1 smoke, and it wasn't even fully covering the plant spot. It looked tenuous at best, but the C4 from Jegs, I don't think he could get into position when another Dokkaebi call was coming out, and so didn't have time to get there with the C4 to get the kill onto Mowgli to stop that plant going down. If he'd done that, that round was won by Fnatic then, because Secret literally had nothing left except a bit of window play to try and recover the round. But the fact that Mowgli managed to stick it, Fnatic there have let them get away with one. It was a great execute by Secret. It was well stopped by Fnatic, but Secret just had that little one extra in the tank to make sure they could get it over the line. 2-2.
Yeah, Secret just worked their plan perfectly. They had it laid out. They knew exactly what they were going to do. And
it was having a backup plan that really...
Yeah, exactly that. You know, as soon as something goes wrong, as soon as they lose something, they know exactly where to move to. They know exactly what to change, and they got it done wonderfully. So showing why they are a team that are fighting towards the top of the league here in EML. So 2-2, we find ourselves on the scoreboard heading into round 5. 2 more defenses for Secret, for Fnatic, and honestly, I think they need to win both of them. As I said, you know, we see Bank being a 55% defender-favoured map over the last 6 months or so. You know, we've got a serious amount of rounds there that were included. I think once Secret get on the defence, Fnatic are going to struggle to break them down. They need to get this done on the defensive side.
Do. Like, if Secret get up to the 3, get up to the 4, then you really start to worry for Fnatic on the other side. Again, I'll say what I always say, 2 halves to a game of Siege. Could see a very different second half playing out here compared to what we've seen in the first. And looking back even to Pasha, of course, in that Virtus Pro game, was absolutely flying first half. And second half, I think he got like 6 kills. It was a quiet one, a very weird one at that as well. But that is just how the winds of fate can change once those sides swap over. But now we're 60 seconds in, though, and Secret are taking things a little bit slower here. Been quite a lot of drone play going on. Of course, got Mowgli still with the ability to get those 3 Roteros out, charging through the map, chewing through bulletproofs and the shields that may well stand in their way. My eyes, of course, though, Tim, fall over towards Savage. He's the one playing on that Blackbeard. Not the same sort of thing that you do with them. Well, very similar to what you do with the Monty, sorry. Get yourself on that double door and then look to step across. That's going to be a lot harder to do now that you're down to about 20 HP, mind you. He's standing there like paper, Tim. You can punch a hole through him, no problem here. So I'll be feeling a little bit nervous at that point if he's going to be your main point of execute.
Yeah, Savage a little bit fortunate there. If that Nitro just misses the windowsill and sails outside, then he could have been in big trouble. For the time being, the Blackbeard is still online, but we'll need to be super careful now going into engagement. Still 5 versus 5, almost 2 minutes into the round. So just showing that Secret are playing with that slightly slower pace, not wanting to overcommit themselves, still trying to soften up that site, get the angle in from Printer window, use that verticality above the Rotero drone just being used to open up angles, open up spots down into archives, into tellers to provide that information, because they're a little bit low on drones. Secret only 4 left available. Time ticking as well. The round is slowly starting to slip away from them.
Great shot. Really good shot there by Jude to snap up onto Jake's head. Taken down before he could get a reverse kill back. He's down to about 30 HP himself. Both him and Savage are taking quite a bit of damage in the round, Tim, but they are still in it. But the clock is what's now starting to make me a little bit nervous. Sark's finding one, Wizard getting another. This is starting to look good for Fnatic.
This is kind of what we expect from them on the defensive bank, being able to dig deep, dig in, and hold on to these rounds. One comes in, Printer again, Deepek is there. They're not really timing this very well, Secret. They go in one by one, and they are cut down as such. Fnatic, just one at a time as they feed in, take them out, and take the round 3-2.
Oh boy. That was a good round for Fnatic. Wasted a lot of time from Secret, and I think Secret got themselves a little bit tied in circles there, but a lot of that came from the aggression from Fnatic. That early C4 onto Savage, for example, yes, it didn't kill him, but it definitely put the fear of God in him. You've then got your main entry point into the site, the shield, down to 20 HP. Like I mentioned, you're like a plastic bag in the wind. There's not a whole lot that you can do there. And they just got bullied off. Sark's pushing out and finding Mowgli. Wizard getting the cross angle through that quad wall. One thing I think I've seen over the last few weeks, Tim, honestly, is a lot of struggle from this exact spot that Deepek is in now. So many teams have actually struggled to force this open and manage to push this player away. It has been such a bruising position that I think teams have struggled with more often than they'd like to admit.
Let's see if Secret continue to struggle getting attacking rounds. 2 so far. They've looked great in the ones that they have won, but in the ones that they haven't, definitely room for improvement. Like I said in that last round, it was just one by one feeding into Fnatic and giving them those opportunities rather than a coordinated push all at the same time. So Fnatic 3-2, like I said, the job is not done for them. They need to get another. I would still count a 3-3 half as a win for Secret in the first half of this matchup before heading into defense. More often than not, we would expect a 4-2 from the defenders. So Fnatic need to make sure that they get this, their last defensive round, locked down.
They do. A 4-2, I think, would be a real good success against Secret, whose remarks are a fantastic team. I need to go and check actually what the stats look like for attacking teams in the league so far. I think Secret are up there. Yes, they are. 58% attacking win rate, only bettered by G2, who sit at 67% attacking win rate. They've really been on it with their attack so far on the stage, but again, to get a 4-2 against them, I think will feel fantastic for Fnatic.
You can just see there the inactivity from the beepers at the moment. They're going to be able to move through without making a sound. The mute jammer just affecting them now, but as it's taken out, they will come back online, so maybe a little bit of intel provided. Might have been worthwhile sort of getting inside of the room before taking that mute jammer out. Could have kept your entry silent at that point, but I think just a little bit unsure of exactly what was going on inside of Tellers, so didn't want to open it. But a minute 15 into the round, we haven't had a real coming together yet, but Secret are now starting to grab more and more territory.
This is where I really want to see Sark's playing this smart here. He can waste a lot of time, but if a drone appears nearby and you know Secret are starting to coalesce, drop away. Don't wait for Mowgli to swing in on you. We've seen it 3 times so far in this game from Sarks, where he's overstayed his welcome and paid the price of result. Like, now's probably not an awful time. They've droned you out. You've used your C4. Fair chance you're not going to be able to get a kill, as I say that. Sees this man lining up, but just really needs to find the shot. That's good. Now drops away. Has wasted an amount of time. We're down to 60 seconds, and he's baited in the Capital Fireball. That's a really, really good hold there by Sox, and he dropped away in the right amount of time.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're looking for in that position. It's been hit and miss from him there so far, but much better this time around. Fnatic looking good. 55 seconds left to go. 5 left alive on the board, all back to site, and now they're in a position where they just need to hold on to this. Auto canister is going to slow things down even more. There's another one in hand for Jegs, another 2 in fact. So they've got real problems now to Team Secret.
I'm more looking towards here the Goyo camps. I don't know if they were taken out by Adria or not. If not, this could be a real sting for them. Still chewing their way through, but keep an eye on Mowgli's light walls, by the way. We saw they were relatively ineffective last time. Granted, they were in a 2 versus 3, but as we spoke about so many times already, Tim, we know that Sense as an operator is incredibly potent. Lots of teams opting to run with them at the moment.
I like the next auto canister coming in as well. Not used to on the hatch anymore, so just put it onto that side door. Again, create a situation where it's difficult for them to get inside. But how about this? Straight in, Noah up onto the desk, and the Nitro is shot out as well. An opportunity to stick this plant. Can they get the second? No, but it doesn't do any damage. It's now 4 versus 3 as Noah, after securing the plant, manages to find a kill as well. 35 seconds left on the clock, and Fnatic need to make a move.
Really good stuff there as well, Tim, because they've gone deep for the plant. Up on the desk, as you saw, Noah's left them completely blindsided. They had no idea what was coming, and they're still trying to hit them on the flank. Wizard getting rid of one. Noah's the one falling down here. So sight starts to look a little bit light for the side of Secret. Fnatic have got to be quick, though, Tim. They've got about 5 seconds to get the kills they need. Mowgli finds one, Zoom another. This one ain't going nowhere. It's going to be that 3-3 split. Imagine Secret will feel pretty thankful they've walked away with 3 rounds there, because after Fnatic warmed into that, it was looking like a real uphill struggle.
Yeah, I feel like Fnatic have been on top, to be honest. 4-2 would have been a reasonable outcome for them, but Secret have dug deep, they've fought hard, they've got themselves the 3-3 split. I really like them for taking this overall now. Just closing it down. They don't need to do anything flash. Just lock down 2 sites, 4-2 half, as you would expect on bank for the defenders, and they've managed to clear themselves 3 points and put themselves up to the top of the league. Pressure onto G2. So Team Secret have positioned themselves well. Bans start coming through. Hibana, Monte, Kaid, Valkyrie. No major surprises.
Sure. I think the Monty being the key one there as well, to take away that safe spearhead that so many teams love to use. As the plant again is wonderfully shown by our observers. They had no idea that he was there. The C4 that came more towards the default plant spot, as we saw, was aiming for an assumption that someone was planting on default. And as soon as Noah comes off from the plant there, it's a freebie onto the player on gold as well. Just nice, smart play. Definitely riskier, because if there was a player still inside of Orange Corridor, then he gets a free kill onto you. However, I think they probably knew at that point that it was clear. Really good execute from Secret. Now, though, we get to see what Fnatic can do on their attacking side. Your remarks on the bans, Tim. We've got Deepak, who about to say for a second, then is running along on the fuse. That's certainly an interesting choice. But now going to change yourself over towards the Sens. Again, that remark that many teams have been running it. No surprise to see it being picked up here by Fnatic too.
Yeah, just a great tool to use on that execution, as we've seen, creating difficulty, you know, for any of the defenders, Warden included, to get any clear line of sight through onto what you're trying to do on the other side of it. They are, you know, exist perpetually throughout the rounding. You can just bring them up and down as you choose. So yeah, definitely seen an increase of value there being utilised by Fnatic. So keep an eye on Deepak, because he's going to be a big part of that execute. Grube on the Blackbeard is going to be used to try and clear areas out. It's going to be about getting rid of those roamers, getting control of open area, opening up those hatches, and then Deepak will look to create the space to put the diffuser down.
Quite like this early pressure being shown in towards open, though. Just by having the sledge there, it means that Mowgli ain't so free to move around. If nothing else, it means that they should be able to punish these players coming in from Printer side. But again, since that quadruple spot providing a lot of pressure, Sarts is coming in, and Savage just absolutely domed Jegs there. The second that shield went down, they've paid the price. Secret could back away to site here, 4 versus 3, and be very happy with what they found out on the roam. We're only 45 seconds into the round, Tim. What a start for Secret.
Yeah, that's really good, especially taking out that Blackbeard and the fuse. The fuse was going to be used to try and clear utility. We've got a Goyo on the other side of things, so you want to be clearing those Vulcan canisters. We saw how much of an impact they can have. We know they can burn out an inordinate amount of time. So now, without the fuse to do that, it's something Fnatic need to start thinking about. They need to give themselves extra time when they get in towards this point of execution, so that they can burn out those Vulcan canisters. It's just too too easy for Doom. You can see he's playing around those mute jammers, so I don't know how aware they were of his location, but he knows exactly where Deepek is. Make that Sarks as well. Absolute beautiful finish to the round from Doom and Team Secret. This is what I was saying about them on the defensive bank. I expect them to pick up rounds, and at a 3-3 split on the attack, they now look good to take the entire thing.
Yeah, really, really beautiful stuff from June there at the end. Again, the big difference I've seen between that first half, though, and that attack there coming out of Fnatic. Fnatic looked a little bit lost on the attack inside there. Not quite in full flow, not quite fully in sync. I like the idea they had, but maybe it was more the reason why they looked a bit uncoordinated towards the end there was because they put everything on that initial starting point. And I like what I saw. You had Slow trying to push his way in, as I mentioned, through Electric to put pressure on towards Pod Wall, and you had two shields ready to break in through Printer and really get the round moving. But that fell apart. And I think Fnatic at that point were like a bit like, right, okay, then I guess we rotate off here and try and push in from Elevator Corridor instead. Doom had already got control of the ground from there, and Fnatic just never really got themselves a start in that round. After that first play, completely fell apart. So we'll chalk that one up to it, Tim, and write it off. Fnatic did that in the start of the first half, got that first round out the way, lost it, and then went on to win the next couple. So maybe we see them warm up a little bit here. Up on this top floor, things are going to be different.
Secret are going to have less opportunity to roam, that much is for sure. Fnatic bringing along the Deimos, that's the operator that I was looking for particularly. They need to secure Deimos's position in underneath. Archives tell us is where Deimos wants to be playing. Try and use that verticality. All of sight is a soft floor, so you can get in there, get those tracks going down, and then look straight up above you. See if you can find yourself any kills and soften sight up, especially somewhere like Janitor, which can be a tough place to deal with. Get in there, make it a nightmare for Secret to be in that position, to be holding on to sight from there.
I always love when I see a Maestro getting picked up, by the way. You normally expect a Brava in on the other side. We've actually had a couple of Brava bans around the world throughout the start of this first stage. I think for this exact purpose of being able to bring along things like the Evil Eyes. It's not always that you're going to see those coming out, but other operators, of course, things like the Fenrir, a lot more powerful when it's a little harder to get rid of those. But of course, the main advantage of Evil Eyes, even with a Twitch, you can't deal with them until that eye has been opened up and they're starting to zap away. Key thing, of course, to note is you will get so much intel coming out of these. There were a couple dropped inside the main sites itself for the denial, the information if an execute comes on through. But I don't think Evil Eyes can do all that much, Tim, unfortunately, about a Aura stack coming in, the Dockerbee call coming out at the same time. There's a lot of tools and toys here that Fnatic have brought along, and the question stands, how well can they weaponize them to get an execute done?
Exactly, it's all about efficiency. It's all about efficiency and being able to deploy them at the right time, right place, and don't lose them. I'm looking across the side. There's no impact nade, two impact nades are left available that could take out a couple of Auras, but other than that, they might struggle to deal with them a little bit, so definitely could be a big impact from Groovy here. It just depends whether Doom A has that utility still available, or B, whether he's got himself in the right place to be able to deal with it. We have the Dockerbee call coming in, and not too much movement going on behind it.
Oh, free. Jeg's just literally walking into that one unaware as to where June was, and it's weird because it feels a lot like that last round when they had no idea where June was, and now Mowgli's got himself a freebie, stepping out inside a stop. Those are two kills that Fnatic could have avoided here if they had better information set up, but Secret have just stepped across and got kills for free. They might have got one back through Sarks, but this round is over, Tim. Constantly shot in the back, completely unaware. Fnatic still looking disarray.
Yeah, there's no excuse really. They had 7 drones left alive. You know, that's a huge amount at this level, especially coming in towards the final minute of a round. We would expect defenders along the way, of course, to have chipped that down and down and down to maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah, think about the first round. We'd like to do that rush. We called to do that rush, but think about what they're doing. They have reinforcements over by E-Box. That's for long angles so that the player can play in kitchen, yeah? We know this. We literally know this. Let's just make sure we're a bit more careful, get the info early. The CEO one there as well, I think big problem is not focusing on Janitor quick enough, yeah? We know before we want to hit that exec, we need to go for the Janitor player, but we didn't take either the right operators for it or we didn't focus on it enough, yeah? Because it could have been a free kill for Jegs on them dropping back. I think we just got to calm it down a little bit in our heads, boys. I think we're doing steps before we need to actually do them, yeah? I think we just got to calm it down a little bit, guys. I don't think you're making terrible decisions, but I think we're just doing them a little bit too quickly. We're letting their rat plays and their aggro get us, okay? Just calm it down a bit, boys.
And I largely agree with them there. Like, we saw this in the game earlier tonight as well, where players are sort of acting out of turn, where it's not like a a team execute is coming forward, or it's a team step forward at the back of a Dokkaebi or a drone leading you in, or as you push here, we push there and make sure it's a good pincer play coming in. It's a player operating very much in isolation with Jegs. It's Deepet paying the price there for a lack of drones inside of storage. It's just a little bit messy and chaotic, and I do think slowing it down, playing as a team, although it sounds like super simplistic advice, is what Fnatic needs to be doing.
Let's see them if they can translate that into actions inside of the server to get themselves a couple of rounds, because right now I'm not surprised to see the timeout come in. Secret have picked up pace since switching onto the defense. That was the concern that I voiced over the first couple of rounds, and in all honesty, last couple, Fnatic on the attack, they look a little bit lost at sea. As I said, 7 drones available to them in the last round and still running on into people that it just didn't look like they were fully aware of their position. They need to make sure that you know, they're completing those steps, and I think that, you know, pretty much as Seth has said there, you know, make sure that we're completing things, that we're not moving on before we've done that step, before we've, you know, completed that task that we need to. And I'm sure that intel gathering is part of that, having a better picture of what you're going into.
Yeah, key to remember, it's a team checklist, not an individual checklist that you're trying to operate here. These aren't 5 randoms you're playing with your teammates, and it's about being synergized together. So here we go then, 2-round deficit to come back on for Fnatic. After this, of course, we get that extra ban coming out here as well. We'll see what that looks like when we step across to it. The Secret looking largely unbothered here. That, of course, that might be the change that comes off the back of this tack timeout, but no huge challenge, and Groovy steps forward on the Zofia. All that utility still in back pocket, now gone, and truthfully, Tim, the battle for that for me is that was one of their main ways to deal with these castle barricades. Now you're looking towards Deepek to help deal with that.
Yep, and it's going to be difficult to get those Rotero drones into the right positions without losing them along the way to being shot out. So, like you said, maybe a little bit more of a direct option for somebody like Grubik to be able to deal with those. Noah has taken a lot of damage along the way, so it was at least a 50-50 battle. Came out on top with it. Bullet's going to be flying through there. Can't quite find his target there, Wizard. And will just bring out that E1D scan, I think, just to put at bay any aggression that might have come his way.
Sure, it's a little bit slower, admittedly. It's looking a bit more calculated. Maybe not quite maybe Groovy didn't quite get the message, but for others, it has been a bit slower. They're making full use of the clock here, and I don't blame them at all. Like, there is 3 minutes to play with here. You haven't got to speed run things inside 90 seconds and pay the price for it. C4 you heard come out then a second ago from June, finds absolutely no one. Now we get towards this final 75 seconds, Tim, and my only concern, as much as I'd like to see them taking it slower and being a bit more composed, there isn't tons of time left to work with here.
Sees his man down in Archives, but can do absolutely nothing. Doom is on an absolute tear. Always from this position as well. Always from Archives. Tellers just absolutely dominating this area right now. 11-3 and just tearing Fnatic's hopes apart. 45 seconds left to go. They still haven't cleared Doom out. That will now be done, but so is the damage. It's 2 versus 4.
And they've got to deal with this quad wall player off towards the right while dealing with the long angles inside of A site. It is, there you go. There's nothing you can do there. You're always going to get yourself pinched in. They try and get the reverse shot there in Jegs, but nothing they can do. As you say, Doom, I think he's got all but 2 or 3 of his kills from that exact position inside of Archives.
Yep.
Fnatic, although they defended pretty well, and I liked what I saw on the attack inside, they're just showing that inexperience here, how this team has still got to mature a little bit and come together over time.
And it's going to be a process. It's going to be an ongoing process, but Team Secret's certainly looking pretty solid so far today. 6-3 now. They just need 1 more round, and they're going to take an extra ban here. As we will see who comes forward. It's going to be Ace and Fenrir. So Fnatic deciding they don't want to deal with any more of those FNATs. We saw, I think it was Sarks on the Twitch in the last round doing a great job of doing exactly that. He was clearing them out for fun at one point, but ultimately it's not really the FNATs or any other utility that's hurting them. It's Doom. It's losing these gunfights.
Drop the bomb.
Painful. And you've got a player popping off in the way that you have with June, but also the team overall having a very well-rounded performance. I think it tells you enough about the tale of the tape. Fnatic do not have their own hero, but I think it more comes down to deficiencies on that team level. That means we find ourselves with 3 rounds to recover to even see overtime, let alone a victory. Secret looking to be one of those commanding top teams, as we've already remarked. They're one of our top 4 this stage. They'll keep on pressing themselves forward and, at least for now, take that top spot if they win this game.
10 seconds left before insertion.
And right now, I don't see any way that they are not going to be taking that top spot. They've got 3 rounds to close this out. Fnatic are yet to win 1 attack. They're attacking into the basement, which is never an easy site to attack onto. Secret have already won this back in round 7. It was with a Doom 3K, surprise, surprise. And they've also, since being on the defense as well, Secret have had every single opening kill. So Fnatic have been playing every one of these rounds 4 versus 5. Now, that's better than we saw on the last couple of rounds, to be honest, where they've kind of struggled to clear, not specifically Fnatic, but both teams have struggled to clear those Vulcan canisters a little bit quite often. So at least one of them now already out of the way.
Although Sarks is down on both of his drones at this point, so they only managed to get rid of the one. The other 3 still stay standing. And that can be enough stall for a team that's, again, been meandering a little bit, but a little bit misaligned. It might be the difference maker come at the end of things. Fnatic going for a full map clear, and Jegs is way ahead of the rest of his pack here. At least he's got a drone at his feet. Has the idea that someone is nearby, but can't quite sniff those pixels the same way that we can.
He's just holding his position, but they need to be careful about holding positions. You know, it's fine for a little while for the attackers, but you can't do it forever because you've got a lot of work to do. It's going to be your time that runs out. That is great from Fnatic, though. Sarks managing to get some more of that stuff taken out. Wants to get the Evil Eye bubble. Just concerned about losing his drone. I think waiting on charges to build up as well, but ultimately it's just going to take too long. Does have another drone on standby, so might get the opportunity to do it.
That's my bad, to be fair. I thought that he'd lost both drones super early on. I was like, that's very weird. But no, he had them out in the field, like you say, gathering those charges more than anything else. And now trying to get the zaps coming through on the backside. This will be a bit of a nuisance unless they can clear it away, which they at least can blow it out. They've got no nades with which to deal, so I don't believe they've got any gone 6s. So that's going to stay there to them and be a real nuisance to them. Won't be able to get that wall opened up because there's no hard breach available anymore either. Groove is, of course, gone. Wizard's got the 1, and in fact, there are 2 in Deepet's back pocket, but that Evil Eye is going to be a real thorn in their side, and any kind of delay at this point can be victory and loss for Fnatic in this round.
Yeah, Fnatic just having to scramble now, like you say, knowing that there's going to be certain avenues not available to them. We've got Savage just trying to hold on to this hatch, hoping to pick anybody up who comes in for the drop. He knows that's likely where it's going to need to come from. 30 seconds left to go. Fnatic need to be making a choice, and they need to be making a move soon.
I was going to say, they know where Savage is. He's been permanently pinged out by those Grim Bees, but he fancied himself winning out the 1v1 here, and the angle is just perfect. Finally, they get rid of him. I was going to say he was super tucked in, but in comes Wizard with 1 for himself. Deepet now ready to make the plan happen as they get 2 kills. Down to these last 15 seconds. They've got light screens to roll out, and sure enough, they shall. But Noah has pushed up close, gets rid of Sarks. They need to see him gone, and Doom is now all that stands as Deepet starts going in for the plant off towards the side. Will down 1. Will he find a second? No, he will not. This one will get completed. Just finds him at the last second, but the diffuser's already down. Doom, hero of the day against Wizard in a 1v1.
Now Wizard is going to know that Doom has to come and try and retake that top. He's not likely to win the fight on the hatch. He's low health. Can he get himself around the corner, though? I don't think he's managed to get himself just out of the picture. Drops down, knows that it's come. The challenge is going to be here, but a beautiful shot. Manages to pick up the 1-tap headshot around the bomb chassis. Wizard closes it out, and Fnatic get themselves their first attack. Are they on the comeback trail?
Oh, calm down, Tim. Come on now. It's 1 round, and I don't, although it was a weird run where they've gone for a full map clear, they were being stalled out, but it was the play when they started stepping in towards site, deep with the light screens going down, when they started collecting those scalps from the other side and thinning down Secret's numbers. One fight goes the other way there, and everything falls apart. This one in particular, I really thought Savage would have him dead to rights, but I don't think he realized that they'd stepped inside a site here. Sarks was the one who was picked out with that aggressive challenge through the light screens. I'd like to see teams try and do this more truthfully, is be willing to step into the light screens, because you see them and you toss C4s at them and sort of hope for the best. Try and use them to your own advantage here and punish teams like we just saw them try to do. Got away with the free kill off the back of it. Fnatic still, though, with 2 rounds to chase here. Up we go to the top floor where Secret hope to close this out 7-4.
Yeah, Doom was a little bit unlucky there. He managed to find the shot through the light screen. If he'd, and it's always in hindsight, it's always, I'm just saying he was unlucky. If he goes for that one first, he probably wins the round in the 1v3, to be honest. You know, we see it occasionally. In a 1v3 where time's running out, you only actually need 1 kill. You just need to drop the player who's going for the plant, and then the clock runs out, you win on time. We've seen it happen. You know, quite a few times over the years, and if Doom finds that kill first rather than the main stairs, but there's lots of ifs and buts there. If he doesn't take the one down from main stairs, maybe they get him from double door, but he was just about half a second behind the pace of where he needed to be. But ultimately, a good round from Fnatic. They had all the answers, they got in, they made it very difficult for Secret to play anywhere inside of sight, cut them down and got themselves around. 6-4, 2 more to go.
There we go. Start with the utility roll on through those Roteros. Remember when Vogue used to play this operator? It still does to some degree. We used to play this operator a lot back on walls, and I can sense that frustration of like, oh, you have to sit still and roll out 4 drones first. Like, I just want to be guns up, man, so I'm going to do my thing. And sure enough, has got rid of 2 so far. Couldn't quite get rid of that Nets Castle barricade. Noah's got onto the double window, looking up towards those windows on the external facing side of site itself. Again, I'm seeing Aurora though, Tim. Groovy with the one in hands here. They must be cooking something.
Yeah, the plan is there. You know, if the Raura's coming along, that you want him to try and create a safe space, and I think it's quite a good site to do that. Seth has managed it, and I'll double down on what he said now, and that is dealing with Janitor. They have to deal with Janitor. Even Raura won't be able to help them with that because they're playing, the defenders are playing in through holes in the wall, so there's nothing that those Raura barricades can do. They have to force this player out of there, then they can seal off the rest of site and try and get the diffuser down. But Tube manages to find another onto Jegs. He's becoming a personal nightmare for Fnatic in this game. Nitro placed on the barricade. They need to be cautious of that as well. Noah goes up looking for his man, but as you say, he's gone. He's chasing shadows. It's 5 versus 2, and it looks like Secret may just be cruising to victory.
Yeah, Secret have held real firm here. I mean, Doom especially, as we can all remark, has been the player of the match, no doubt. Absolute resolute in shutting down many of these Fnatic attacks and not even giving them a way in. Blur's found a kill in the round. It's not really all down to him. Secret have just shut out a very lethargic looking Fnatic who couldn't quite pull together attacks here on Bank. Of course, have a lot to do back on this one, but it's a flawless round to close things out as Secret cruise to the top of the table.